Welcome to the Cosmic Diaries podcast. This is Priya Kale, your astrologer. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're looking at the astrology for the week of February 13th, beginning February 13th till February 20th. We're entering another life-changing week. The winds of change are blowing. There's passion in the air, there's love, there's change in the air, and a whole lot of other things. Above all, there's a need for self-awareness as we move through this week. We are now in the Aquarius new moon cycle, and which took place on the 9th of February. Sorry, we're already in February. That took place on the 9th of February, and this was the first new moon in Aquarius since Pluto has entered the sign. Pluto entered Aquarius on the 20th of January. Since then, on the 5th of February, Mercury made a conjunction to Pluto. And you might want to look back at what information was coming through at the time, because this week Mars and Venus will both follow Mercury's footsteps and the Sun's footsteps to enter Aquarius and make a conjunction to Pluto immediately. And with Mars and Venus, anytime Mars and Venus are in the mix, our relationships are highlighted, creativity, financial matters all come under focus. And it's worth noting that this is Valentine's week, and this year it's like somebody tipped off the skies because relationships are certainly heating up. So I will get into the aspects day by day, but on the whole, it's a busy week in the sky, and we're processing a lot of emotions internally, as well as there's a lot of shifts that are taking place around us. And it's important now as you enter this week to recognize that these are life-changing developments that are unfolding, and it's important that we're moving with self-awareness and we're staying grounded and being absolutely true to ourselves and shedding skin, because that's what's happening. It's a process of shedding skin and letting go of the expectations of the world to really tune in to the truth of our being and an inner truth, the truth of our hearts. Then we can really create some magic. So with that said, I'm just going to dive into the week. And starting with, I did mention that we're in the Aquarius new moon cycle. The sun is in its final days in Aquarius. So on the 13th, we're still under this Aquarian energy, and Mars is about to enter Aquarius. So Aquarius is the sign of friendships, of community, of the collective consciousness, of our connections, and it's a sign of spiritual liberation. It's also the sign that, teaches us lessons of detachment and how to be a witness to life, which is happening through us. It's a very revolutionary sign. This energy is innovative, inspiring. It's like a flash of lightning. Aquarian energy is electric like that. And these are some of the themes that are being highlighted in our life right now. On the 13th, just after midnight at 1:04 a.m., Mars enters Aquarius. And so now Mercury is already in Aquarius, the Sun is already there, and Pluto is there, and Mars is joining the body. Venus is the last to make her grand entrance. But Mars has been traveling through Capricorn since the 4th of January, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So since the 4th of January, with Mars' transit in Capricorn, we've been in a process of sharpening focus and getting clear on our ambitions and our long-term goals. And there's a sense of feeling driven to go after what we want. Still, right now, it's like the stakes are high. So there's also need to be disciplined and absolutely true to yourself and your integrity. Then you can trust that the right things will follow. And being true to your integrity, it's like your words and your actions, everything needs to be in alignment. So Mars enters Aquarius at 1:04 a.m. on the 13th of February. And later that day, Venus will be sextile Neptune. So this is really exciting, and the energy is, on the one hand, really intensifying, because on the 14th, just after midnight, Mars is going to conjunct Pluto. So there's it's like, not to mention that it's Valentine's Day, a time when, relationships are already under the spotlight. So given that, what's unfolding now, it's like we're really having to take a good hard look at ourselves and our relationships and how we show up in them, and whether most importantly, we're being authentic and true to ourselves here. The energy is very creative and even romantic and passionate and sexual. Mars is the planet of sex, and Mars is approaching now a conjunction to Pluto. So, if you're enjoying this energy, by all means, dive in, go with it. But that said, we're going to have to move through a process of total change. Life is evolving, life is rearranging itself, reshuffling itself, and with Pluto, resistance is futile. So, with Mars conjunct Pluto, this is a powerful personal transformation, resurrection, inner purification that's underway. And the aspect is really asking us to get real with ourselves and ask ourselves, what do we really want? And to acknowledge what you want. You don't have to act on all your desires, but there are powerful desires welling up, and it's important that you at least acknowledge them, because otherwise they're going to, Pluto's energy can be shadowy. Otherwise, it's going to unconsciously play out in your life in ways that you can't, that's beyond your control. So be in no denial and acknowledge everything that's surfacing within you. Then you can choose where you want to focus your energy and attention. And the Mars Pluto aspect, it's really like a convergence of energy, just asking you to zero in on what you truly want at the bottom of it all. And in reality, what we want is to be free, to feel free to be ourselves and express ourselves. Aquarius is the sign of the collective, and Pluto is now asking for detachment. And with Aquarius, again, this energy is very electric. So, like an electric current, it needs to be grounded, and you can't cling to a live wire. So, avoid clinging to what's changing. Avoid trying to control situations. Avoid trying to even control yourself or your own desires. Aquarius asks for acceptance, and it's only through a spirit of acceptance of reality as it stands, whatever situation you're dealing with, especially wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, matters of that house are being highlighted. Move within and let go of the weight of expectations, to drop expectations of others as well as expectations that you have of yourself or of what you think things should look like. Aquarian energy is very inventive and creative, and wherever even right now you're seeing a dead end, it's more a matter of surrendering to accepting what you can't change, and finding the courage and power to change what you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So it's like the serenity prayer, right? Moon is still moving through Aries at this time. And of course, on the 13th, Venus is also making that sextile to Neptune. So aside from relationships, this energy is, of course, for relationships, it's very romantic and transformational. You could be igniting passion and romance and totally transform a relationship and move things to a new level. But on a personal level as well, this energy is very creative and healing in a sense, as we're able to let go and shed skin. There's a sense of unburdening that can happen, allowing us to reconnect with our innermost selves and our innermost spirit and that undying, unchanging spirit within. And when we can accept reality as it stands, the good, bad, the ugly, look at all facets of it, then we can be empowered to bring about a transformation. And if we continue to stay in denial, then we can't change anything. So let go of trying to control anyone else or change anything else outside of yourself. First, look at what you need to change within yourself, and then you can find the power to change whatever else you need to in your life. And in the case of relationships, you are one half of a situation, but you are whole. So if you're caught up in a challenging dynamic right now, which really with Venus sextile Neptune, the challenge is not with another person. It's about letting go of our own stuff, for lack of a better word, so we can create space to invite in the prosperity, not just relationships. This could be financially, there's real potential here as well as creatively. But now we're creating space in our life, letting go of the things that are not important and that, just are distractions or shiny objects, but ultimately hollow and don't leave us feeling satisfied. We're letting go of all the surface level stuff to find that what really matters to you and to really reconnect with an inner truth of our being. Then, if we can be that authentic, then we can meet others and meet life from that place of authenticity. So, on the 14th of February, just after midnight, Mars will conjunct Pluto. And this is a point of no return. This is a total transformation, certainly on a personal level. And with Pluto, Pluto works in the shadows. It's a very unconscious, subconscious process. But with personal planets making contact with Pluto, it's like the unconscious is becoming conscious. And then we have the power to engage with it consciously, basically, rather than be in denial of it. Because with Pluto and power, it's like you use it or lose it. So be conscious of where you're giving away power. And this is a chance to really reclaim our power. Then we can make the conscious choices and decide where we want to invest our energy. And when it comes to letting go, it's not even so much that you need to cut stuff out. It's more about focusing and centering that energy where it matters. In Aquarius, again, there may be group dynamics that we're dealing with here. We're learning how undeniably intertwined our lives are with others in our life and how connected we are with everything in this world. That is Aquarius. That's the collective consciousness. And our actions affect others. So I mentioned the domino effect, and that's what this energy feels like. But that does not need to be something that's bad. It's more just about awareness of what you're setting in motion. And then there can be real power in that change. So move with awareness through the 13th and the 14th with this Mars-Pluto conjunction. Soon after the conjunction, the moon is in Aries and will sextile the sun in Aquarius before it enters Taurus at 10:03 a.m. on the 14th of February. So there's a sense of really getting to the truth of a matter and really realizing what's important to us and what's something that rings true to your being. And when you've found that, then you can move ahead with that self-awareness. Because once the moon enters Taurus, it will immediately square Pluto and Mars, and then later that night it will make a sextile to Saturn. So we're turning a corner, and now we're grounding these emotions physically. So a lot passions have been flaring over the 13th and 14th, and it's like the dust is slowly settling once the moon enters Taurus at about 10 a.m. And then as the day progresses, we're getting progressively, the energy eases out and smooths out progressively. And with the sweet sextile to Saturn at the end of the night, it can be another really romantic night, or a night where you can just really connect with a partner, and if you're having a date night. But even if you're not, this energy is very nurturing and nourishing, and it can be. So make sure that you're, with the moon in Taurus, taking care of your physical needs, pampering yourself. It's a great day to get a massage, to take a bath, to enjoy great food, wine, good company, connect with the people that you love and let them know you love them. Taurus is all about our values. So get grounded in your values and invest in the connections and what people and the things that you value. There really is that sense of things settling down into a new groove or a new rhythm, and something feeling really like it's finally stabilizing. On the 15th of February, the moon will conjunct Jupiter and Mercury will square Uranus. Now, this is an interesting aspect, and this will likely bring a few surprises. So brace yourself. But at this point, this is not coming out of the blue. Nothing happens in a vacuum. On the 8th of February, the sun was square Uranus. So we already had a taste of this energy before, where we're reaching this inner breakthrough and stepping into new territory and being drawn out of our comfort zone. So with this Mercury square Uranus, it's a similar, progression of events where we're now having to communicate things maybe that are not easy for us, or perhaps we're connecting with others, not perhaps, we are connecting with others on a deeper level. And some of these may be new connections. And even in existing connections, we've changed. We are no longer the same people. I mean, even in the past, you are no longer the same person you were even the day before. And I'm not the same person I was a week before. And this is the new era of Pluto in Aquarius, which is coming up for over the next 20 years. But we're coming out of a 15-year Pluto in Capricorn era. So we're certainly not who we were 15 years ago. So it's really important that we're staying in the present and relating and connecting with others in the present. And as much as you have changed, recognize that others have changed as well. So it's important that we allow space for others to evolve too. So a lot is shifting and changing within us. And it's important to have that awareness, because there could be important conversations that we need to have on the 16th, that we're having on the 15th. And the moon is in Taurus, so it's just important to really be real and stay grounded and speak from the heart, communicate from the heart. Okay, so I'm sorry, the Mercury square Uranus happens on the 16th of February, but still the energy is active on the 15th as well. So 15th, 16th, this Mercury square Uranus is active because the Taurus moon is moving through and making aspects to both the planets. So on the 15th, we could just be processing a lot of emotions. And it's important that you're digging deep and being really honest with yourself and really real with yourself about what matters to you and why and what you value, and that you're being true to your values. Then trust you can find common ground with others, because everything's negotiable. It's just a matter of being willing and open-minded to be able to discuss things, especially where you're, interacting with others, and whether it's a business partnership or a romantic connection or a marriage or a friendship. At the end of the day, we are humans connecting with other humans. And if we can let go of the definitions of all of these relationships and just really connect on that heart level, we could really reach a breakthrough. And on a personal level as well, whatever else you're dealing with, this is very innovative energy. So it's really encouraging us to think outside the box and look at situations with an open mind, and to re-examine our beliefs, especially the beliefs that limit us from being all that we can be or expressing ourselves fully. So on the 16th, the moon continues to move through Taurus. Mercury will square Uranus on the 16th, but also we're reaching the first quarter phase of the moon, and Venus enters Aquarius. So a lot is shifting on the 16th. As we reach the first quarter phase with this Mercury Uranus square, look at communication that's coming up. Venus will be at the end of Capricorn on this day before she enters Aquarius. So matters of love and money and creativity are also reaching a peak before we move to the next stage, or rather Venus enters a new sign. And there's a need to really get clear on your long-term goals and your values and your integrity, and then you can make choices accordingly. With the moon square the sun and us at the first quarter, this is the halfway point between the Aquarius new moon, which took place on the 9th of February, and the Virgo full moon, which will be on the 24th of February. So this is the halfway point, and the first quarter is always, it's a time to pause and look back, look ahead, to get centered and look at any adjustments that we need to make. The moon is in Taurus at this time, the sun is in Aquarius, so once again there's a need for that grounding and detachment, being true to yourself and true to your own values, and then trusting that the right things will unfold and you can make choices based on that. And again, we're becoming aware of our personal needs, as well as what we think is expected of us in terms of the collective. But we're also now finding the power or the ability to be sovereign. You can never please everyone, so it's important that you're just being true to yourself, and then trust that the right people and your tribe will gravitate towards you, and you can attract the right connections that you need, and the resources that you need, and the support that you need. not just in terms of relationships, but even financially, materially, whatever else you need, you can draw into your world. It's about us creating space in our world and us knowing our own self worth so we can invite in more of what we desire and reach for our goals. Then Venus enters Aquarius on the 16th, also on the 16th of February, and soon after that, the moon enters Gemini. So the energy is shifting again and things are lightening up. The mood is lightening up. Venus is going to be in Aquarius until March 11th. And Mars, I didn't mention this earlier, but Mars will be in Aquarius until the 22nd of March. So with Venus also entering Aquarius now, the mood is lightening. We can expect things to be a lot more social. We're making more connections. The energy is inspiring and creative and innovative and fun and inviting us to try new things and explore new ideas and options. And hopefully, at best, we're seeing we have a lot more options than we first imagined. But that said, as soon as Venus enters Aquarius, she is heading to that conjunction to Pluto on the 17th of February. So there is that sense of intensity that's building, and this is a continuing story from earlier in the week, from Mars' conjunction to Pluto. So this is just a progression of events that's happening. And with Venus, this is the planet of love, beauty, relationships, money, finances, creativity. So how we relate with others is changing. We're having to really get clear on our values and to recognize that what's really important to us, and to definitely let go of people pleasing, because again, you can't please everybody all the time, but it's important that you're at least at peace with yourself and happy with yourself. It's not worth compromising your values for anything. And especially with the Venus Pluto conjunction, there will be that test and that purification that happens where we have to let something go so that we can devote our energy and time and attention to what truly matters and invest in that and nurture that. We're also seeing group dynamics come to light here, and it's important that you're not giving in to peer pressure. If anything, the aspect is empowering us to walk away from any unhealthy patterns or toxic cycles that we've been caught up in, and anything that's been holding us back and chaining us back. Now we're finding the power to be liberated from the stuff that's been weighing us down, so we can truly free ourselves to share our heart and to share our creativity and our joy and inspiration, and then be an inspiration to others in our life. But that begins with that inner sense of transformation. And really, we're getting to the heart of a matter here. We're learning about the mysteries of the heart. And Aquarius is it's an air sign, so it can be very mental energy. So what we're feeling now, it could be indescribable and surprising, and we may not even have words for all of this. But just move through a process with as much consciousness as possible. The moon is in Gemini at this time and will be square Saturn on the 17th. So there is that sense of having to perhaps make or realize, acknowledge some difficult truths, or perhaps have difficult conversations. Any square aspect is best resolved internally. There's a sense that we could be going back and forth with a decision or trying to understand some piece of information or process this. We're reflecting on our limits and our boundaries. In all of this, be honest with yourself. Then it'll be easier to be honest with everybody else in your life. And again, not everyone needs to know your business, but it's important that you're being honest and transparent with at least those who matter. And, the worst lies are the ones we tell ourselves. So acknowledge how you feel, acknowledge your desires. This whole week with even the Mars-Pluto aspect as we enter the 13th, acknowledge your desires and what's surfacing. You don't have to act on everything that you feel, but it's only when you've acknowledged everything, then you can make a conscious choice or decision about what you want to do moving ahead. So similarly with this Venus-Pluto aspect right now, there's a need for deep acceptance of where things stand. Then we can be empowered to create a new reality and let go of what's just taking up space, so you can invite in more of the love and abundance and resources and whatever else you desire. So this is the 17th Venus conjuncts Pluto. On the 18th of February, the moon continues through Gemini and will trine Mercury, make a square to Neptune, and then trine the sun before it enters Cancer. So with the moon moving through Gemini on the 18th, the energy is cerebral, communicative. We're having ideas, we're having conversations. We're also reflecting a lot, and we're sorting through our options right now. And it seems that there are a lot of options and a lot of choices in the mix. And there's a lot to consider here. So there's just a lot of information that's coming through and a lot of moving parts. But so just pay attention to your mental health. And, when it comes to communication, a lot has surfaced in this past week already with all the aspects. So when you're having your conversations, just do them with awareness. So focus on what you're trying to create rather than the past that you're leaving behind now. Because once the moon enters Cancer, Cancer is a sign, it's an emotional water sign. So we're moving from this very cerebral, rational, logical energy of the moon in Gemini, where we've been thinking our way through things. Now, once the moon enters Cancer on the 18th of February, and then on the 9th, this is also the last day of the sun in Aquarius. On the 19th, the sun's going to enter Pisces. So both Cancer and the moon will be in Cancer at the time. So both Pisces and Cancer are very water signs. And this is very emotional energy. Creative as well, and it's nurturing and nourishing. Once the moon enters Cancer later on the 18th, and then the sun enters Pisces on the 19th, the Cancer moon will also trine Saturn on the 19th. Now we're feeling all the feelings and things are stabilizing. Once the sun enters Pisces, the energy is shifting in a very significant way, where life seems to have a rosier hue, and everything might just feel a little more shimmering and like it has a little bit of a glow. But if you're feeling disillusioned or disappointed or processing any heavier emotions, and life is never black and white. In fact, that's what we're learning right now. There could be waves of nostalgia coming in, there could be hope for the future, there could be just deep joy and full emotional fulfillment that we're experiencing, sadness. We're experiencing all of life, and we're understanding what it means to be so gloriously human. So allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Just don't wallow or stagnate, especially if you're feeling any heavier emotions. Feel them and release them consciously as you move ahead, because as you can see, the past is all gone, and we're heading into a whole new world and a whole new future, and we're creating our future in the present with our actions, words, and deeds. So it's important that we're being present and living as deeply and truly in the present as possible. Again, on the 19th, even on the 20th, the moon continues to move through Cancer, and on the 20th, the moon will sextile Uranus. So this emotional energy continues, and on the 20th, with the moon sextile Uranus, there could be some surprises, there could be emotional breakthroughs, a release, a sense of finding grounding for all of our emotions, and a feeling of life flourishing at best. Again, if you're dealing with heavier emotions, release them consciously, because there can be a real sense of lightening and unburdening that can happen right now. With the moon moving through Cancer on the 19th and 20th, Cancer is a sign that rules our emotions. The moon is at home in Cancer. Pay attention, make sure you're drinking lots of water. Cancer also rules food and nourishment on all levels, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So just nourish yourself on all levels. A walk by the water, a bath, all of these things can help you soothe yourself. Also, the sun is in Pisces, and now the sun's going to be in Pisces for the next 4 weeks, starting the 19th. Pisces is a sign that represents music and magic and God and divinity. Not what we know of God, but God as an experience. So, an experience of transcendence. Pisces energy is very ethereal and it deals with spirit. So, spirit as in our soul and spirit, as well as alcohol and drugs and addictions kind of spirit. Pisces is a sign of cosmic consciousness. It represents all that is, in a sense. So, the great cosmic soup that we're in. And as the sun moves, it is the 12th sign of the zodiac. And then at the end of Pisces season, the sun enters Aries, and we have the Aries ingress, which marks the astrological new year. But before we get to that, this month of Pisces season is a time when we're really letting go of an old year. I mean, the calendar year began in January, but astrologically speaking, once the sun enters Aries, that's when we're really beginning a whole new year. So here in the northern hemisphere, we're getting to the end of winter, and slowly we're feeling the stirrings of spring. It's time to let go of the past, to forgive, to heal. The energy again is magical and musical and dreamy. And as we enter next week, which I'll have a lot more to say, Venus conjuncts Mars next week, and we're moving to the full moon in Virgo on the 24th, bringing situations to light, bringing revelations, and again, a lot of healing, potential for healing and growth. So there's a lot more to come in Pisces season, and I'll have a lot more to say about Pisces in the weeks to come. But I do plan on doing these podcasts again weekly, so I hope you tune back in. And thank you so much for listening as always. If you're curious about your chart and would like to learn more, I am available for consultation. So please do email me at priya@cosmicdiaries.com, or feel free to visit the website at cosmicdiaries.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a very happy Valentine's Day from my heart to yours. This is Priya signing off. Namaste.